So take a look at this screenshot Tanner took. The very beginning of the map. 20% not playable area. Another 40% in water. Let's take a look at the buy station situation inside of the very first circle. So shipwreck, no buy. Castle, the biggest POI in your entire game.
The hot drop location.
0 buy stations. Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner?
This is going to be a longer section than the first part you guys heard.
Change it, obviously, of course. We are... Oh, I had a tiny little burp. Live, boys and girls. Welcome to...
Little belch.
Dropshot. Little tiny belch. It didn't approach belch status. It was a little baby. It was what do they call it when babies burp? Isn't there like a name for it?
I don't know, man.
Like a spit up. That's like puke, though. Anyway,
I don't have an idea, yeah.
Episode number 306. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. Today, I'm joined by Tanner Dropshot once again. Tanner, are the drawstrings of your hoodie evenly?
Not even close, no.
That makes me furious. Tell me why you're doing that.
It's probably because I washed it so they get fucked up in the washing machine.
We'll fix it.
No.
Okay. You can't
even them out, man. They can't be evened.
They can be, especially the Dropshot official merchandise hoodie. Where did you get that hoodie, by the way, Tanner? Like if I wanted one, for example, where would I go?
I would go to the dropshot.com/store and I would use code BLOWOUT.
Because there's a 50% off sale on all of our merch. That is true.
Pretty close. We'll rock with that one.
That's okay. That's acceptable. Anyway, welcome to the show, boys and girls. Today, we are doing a fun and exciting episode on Ashika Island. So
they just put out a patch.
What?
They just put out a patch.
Oh, yeah? Anything interesting in it?
No, they nerfed the RPK. They didn't mention the sniper changes, of course. Maybe they did under bug fixes. Yep, they said it was a bug. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Incompetent.
Anyway, welcome to the show. Yeah, today we're doing a podcast episode on Ashika Island. Originally, we were going to do this episode 2 hours ago, but we kind of fucked up our schedule, and we were gaming a lot on Al Mazrah when we should have been playing Ashika Island. So once we realized that, and we had to record like 2 episodes yesterday and get those up and shit and render them and all that. So once we realized that, we had to push this back. So we woke up this morning, got a nice little breakfast, drank some water, brushed our teeth, got mentally prepared, and then played some Ashika Island directly before this broadcast. I wanted to keep playing, but we had to start. So we played for like a solid 2 hours.
Play Maz.
I was ready for Maz for sure, yeah. But I wanted to keep playing the game at least, yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's why this got pushed back. So sorry about that. So just a few announcements before we get into this. First of all, Patreon. As I have said, we are recording... I guess I had said this on Patreon, though, so I'll mention it here. We still have 2 more bonus episodes to go for the Patreon. We have a Warzone Brainstorm. We have our second impressions of Season 2, and we have a Ranked Play first impressions, all coming out before the month is out. The Brainstorm is now live for all of our patrons, patreon.com/thedropshot. And then the second impressions will release on Sunday morning. That is the schedule for that. And the Brainstorm, I think, was one of the most fun and productive brainstorms ever, and I think it also had the most homework assignments in it. And for those of you who don't know what that means, because you might think, oh, homework, that sucks. It's Call of Duty homework, okay? And a homework assignment for the brainstorms, which is a classic, a Dropshot Patreon staple, is where me or Tanner has some idea and we think it, and on paper it sounds like it's a good idea, but we got to actually try it to see if it's actually a good idea. So an example of a homework assignment, there were a lot of homework assignments for our last brainstorm, which is once again now live. One of them was, for example, dropping high veloc rounds and seeing if you can get away with it. Another one, and we talk about why that's an assignment and how it's might be less insane than you think. Another one was, I wonder if any thermal optics are worth running now, because everyone's running smokes and no one's running cold-blooded. So is there a thermal optic that is decent that you should use? Find out, you know. So there were a lot of homework assignments. Those are some examples of those. And we're going to be trying them as well. But I thought that brainstorm was really, really, really fucking good, and I deeply enjoyed it. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it was a Mazra brainstorm, and
yeah,
we talked a lot about the drop strat too, if that's still viable, what the issue with strongholds, or what the deal with strongholds are, if you should even do them or not anymore. I talked a lot about sniping, which is really unfortunate because that doesn't matter anymore because they nerfed it. So that's also going to be in the second impressions, I think. We already recorded, but they already nerfed the sniper, so cool. Dog shit, dumb devs.
Which we mentioned was probably going to happen.
Triple D's, dog shit, dumb developers, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like
I wasn't expecting it that fast, so cool. But other than that, yeah, a lot about perks again. We've talked quite a bit about perks. We're probably mostly done with that now that we can create our own perk packages. I think we pretty much figured out what to run. I think that topic's pretty much settled now for the most part.
For the most part. I think there's... Yeah. I think a lot of the... I think you're right, but the thing about perks, which is why I think it will come up again actually, is that they are very rock, paper, scissors. And so even if the perks don't change at all, you might want to change your perks to adjust to a different meta. Like maybe they buff stims to be like they were in Warzone 1, where you get healed through damage. Mm-hmm. Well, then everyone's going to stop using smoke grenades. So then you might, for example, stop running resupply. Yeah. Or something. Or you stop running like a thermal optic. So it's like, even though none of the perks or guns changed, one little equipment change can like change up the whole meta. And now you're not running cold-blooded anymore. Or you're not running, you know, resupply anymore. So I think it will come up again. But yeah, as far as the current meta, I think we have some homework to do with respect to perks, but we figured a lot out, and I think it was a really, really productive episode. So please listen to that if you are a patron and give us some feedback. Let us know your thoughts. And I really, really fucking enjoyed that. I think that's some of our best work, as we say. So anyway, we also have a second impressions coming out. I quite enjoyed that as well. And then we have not recorded yet our ranked play first impressions episode. We have a whole fucking day of ranked grinding scheduled for Sunday. Tanner's not going to be here on Saturday.
We're going to hit iridescent.
But we're going to get iridescent. Absolutely. What does that mean? Does that mean like kind of transparency? Let's look that up.
Yeah.
Let's look up iridescent.
Showing luminous colors that seem to change when seen from different angles.
Oh, okay. Like a bubble. I see. Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah. Bubbled up.
Feels like the Damascus camo, kind of.
Yeah.
Anyway, with all that said, that's now live. So for all of you patrons, you can go and check that out. I really love that brainstorm episode. I think it's really good. And if you're a Warzone player, specifically Al Mazrah especially, I think you're going to get a lot of utility out of that, or at least a lot of things to think about. And if you wanted to listen to it and you're not a patron, patreon.com/thedropshot. $5 a month, you get 3 bonus episodes. You get all of our public episodes, ad-free and early access. And if you wanted even more content, there are other tiers available, but it is a very competitive price point, I would say. It's $5 for an entire ass month. And 3 bonus eps, probably 4, 5, no, more than 4, probably 5 hours of extra episode content.
A disgusting amount for the price. A disgusting
amount, frankly. We're ripping ourselves off. In addition to early access to all the public episodes, and you get them without ads. I mean, what more could you ask for? Nothing. Or you'd be an ungrateful piece of shit. Because you're already getting too much for $5. And maybe there's a new overhaul coming. Because I've just talked myself into it. So expect a price hike on that point as well. And that's, of course, a joke. For now, we'll see. Anyways, that is now live. Also, one more announcement. I should have done this last episode, but I forgot to check my donations. Tanner's shit brother-in-law, Christopher, Boomertown Gaming, for my birthday, he gave us money. And he sent a nice little PayPal donation, an insane one, of fucking 200 United States dollars, which is a lot of money. That is a big birthday.
That's a good chunk of money.
Present. Yes, it is. Yeah.
And he gave me some Christmas Kringle, some Wisconsin Kringle. So that was cool, man. Did he?
How was that?
Yeah.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
A dessert that's like not very good.
Right? Yeah.
Do you like eclairs?
Do they have the cream in the middle?
Do you like the taste of the not cream part of an eclair?
Yes.
Okay, then you would like it.
Okay.
Tastes like that, but super sweet, and it's got like filling cream cheese frosting. I don't know. It was too much for
filling,
me.
I think.
This is different. This is like thicker filling, but it's not as much. Eclairs are like usually like a pretty thin filling, but there's a lot of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't like it that much, so I spit it back at him, threw it at his front door.
Okay. Well, so I'm going to have to ask him how much those cost, and I will be taking that out of the 200 United States dollar donation that he's given us. So, Chris, thank you very much, dude. That's extremely generous. We really appreciate that, of course. That is a lot of money, and sorry that I didn't say anything last ep. But
yeah, it's kind of rude.
Yeah, it's a little fucked up, but you didn't see it either, so I guess it doesn't matter. So anyway.
I'm not logged in anymore. My password stopped working. So
then use it. I don't know. Figure it out.
Can't. I tried to. We tried to.
Yeah, I guess you're just locked out of the account forever. Chris!
I literally am.
Thank you very much, dude. You're fucking insane. I really appreciate it. And you can always go to dropshot.com to donate more. Pig. Spit gif. Anyway, thank you. All right, so other than that, as far as announcements, not really much else to say. I think next week we will be on a fairly normal schedule. That's probably going to be the case for the time being. No crazy big updates upcoming very soon. Tanner will be back in town, so I think we're going to get a little back to normal, our Thursday, Saturday schedule next week. But we'll keep you guys posted, of course, on Twitter and in the Discord.
This may be the week we start getting into DMZ, man. We may have to play some DMZ this coming week. Yeah. DMZ or a more ranked grind, one of those two, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. We're gonna get active with a lot of that next month.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the ranked play and the DMZ month. So, we do plan on doing a DMZ ep soon.
Surely.
If you're listening for the jingle, here it is. Biannual to avoid price hikes, true. All right. Elijah, also a friend of the pod. 3 months. Thank you very much, dude. Welcome back, Elijah. A nice little YouTube membership. Very much appreciate you, King. Very kind of you. Now, today, we are doing an episode on the brand new resurgence map called Ashika Island, Sea Lion Island. This came out with season 2. Tanner and I played a bit of it. Tanner and I talked about it a bit, and then it got changed. I dare say improved.
It changed, yeah.
So now we are going to talk about it some more. So yeah, we talked about it a little bit with first impressions, but we wanted to do a real deep dive into it. And also that it's what's doubly nice about this is that they changed a lot about the island since launch already, which is good. because the changes were mostly for the better. We'll get into that. So we wanted to play post update, and we wanted to play a good amount before we did this episode. So this episode is going to be kind of a second impressions of Ashika Island / Ashika Island brainstorm. It's going to be kind of both. So that's how this is going to be. We're basically just talking about our experience, what we figured out worked, what didn't, and then also just observations, impressions we've made. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you'll know how this is going to go. With that said, we wrote some things down. The order is just not great.
It's a disaster. Yeah.
It's just kind of random observations. So we're going to dip in and out of topics, but it's all going to be related to Ashika Island. So for context, we have only played quads, Resurgence, on this map. I've not played solos. Don't plan on playing solos. The solos experience is definitely different. And I guess I'll mention that now. We were watching a little bit of solos gameplay, and the pacing is tremendously slower in solos than it is in quads, which is not terribly surprising, by the way. But that's just something to keep in mind. The team size will pretty dramatically change the experience, I would say. And seeing the juxtaposition between quads and its pacing versus solos makes me wonder what trios and duos is like. I'm very curious to see how those play.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what I would expect. You know?
Not as insane as quads, I don't think. Yeah.
I think trios is going to be the most insane.
Why would that be?
Because it's enough teammates to where people aren't going to be afraid to fight because they can still get resurgence. But also, since it's only 3 instead of 4 people per team, there's even more teams. And they're still not afraid to fight. Once you get to duos, people are going to start to be ratty and afraid of dying. And when you're in quads, no one's afraid of dying because you respawn instantly. We'll get into that. But I think trios is where there's even more teams than quads. There's the same number of players, and you're also not afraid of dying. So I think trios is going to be the most fucking crazy, hectic, insane team size for Ashika Island. Like unplayable. We'll get into it. So yeah,
that's a thought for sure.
Just for context, we've only played quads. We played a lot this morning. Now we're going to start telling you guys about our loadouts and then wondering what we should have run. So my Ashika Island loadout. I was looking at True Game Data this morning, looking at some ARs. The Chimera has a very attractive stat line for Ashika Island. It has the fastest TTK on a fully plated opponent if you're hitting them in the chest of every single assault rifle inside of 26 meters. That's pretty good. In addition, decent handling, good handling even, pretty low recoil, pretty high fire rate. So I said, you know what? That sounds good on paper. Let me set one up. I set one up. It is good. Yeah. It's really nice. One thing about it I was not happy with is, oddly enough, which I think maybe answers my question about from the brainstorm actually, I was not running high velocity rounds, and there were a couple times when I definitely noticed not having it. I was like, oh, I'm already having to lead people. This is cringe. So I don't think it's worth running high velocity rounds on Ashika Island, but it's not a useless attachment either. It's not as useless as you might think, because there were times when I definitely would have benefited from it.
Were you running a barrel?
Yes. Yeah, but no muzzle. The muzzle was the recoil muzzle. So I was only running a barrel for velocity. And actually, I don't think the Chimera barrel gives velocity. I think it only gives damage range. No, it probably gives
yeah,
velocity.
the gun has 0 velocity. Yeah, you have to. It has 350 base velocity.
Oh wow, that's why. Okay, then.
Yeah, it's because
okay,
it
then
uses the
brainstorm
default
question is still
subsonic,
open.
doesn't it?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think
That's
you're
why.
right.
Yeah, so I think you have to run that if you're gonna.
I mean, it was fine most of the time with just the
That
long
is
barrel.
dog shit. Wow. Yeah.
But I definitely noticed it, but that explains it. Okay, so the brainstorm question is still open then. I think you can get away, maybe, with not running high veloc on other guns. But anyway, it's a topic for another time. So yeah, I was running the Chimera. It felt really good. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great little Ashika Island map. Is it better than an RPK? I mean, maybe now. They just nerfed it again, I guess. But also no. I mean, if it's pre-nerf RPK, no, probably not. But I want to be able to reload quick, especially because my secondary was, of course, the broadside shotgun. Admiral Jack going broadside, and it was fun and exciting and fantastic. Yeah. And I also died to the fucking broadside quite a few times. And then
died to mine.
That's where you really notice how fucking good it is. And by the way, another thing we said on Patreon, we're not sure if Dragon's Breath is worth it or not. On Ashika Island, it's definitely worth it. I was fully plated and I died in 2 bullets from the shotgun on the island with a Dragon's Breath broadside user. And it was insanely fast because it's got a fast fire rate. So here's my recommended broadside loadout for Ashika Island. Maybe also for Al Mazrah, but I would probably drop Dragon's Breath and get some more hip fire accuracy if I was on Al Mazrah. But for Ashika Island, Dragon's Breath round, 25 round drum mag, the bolt that gives you higher fire rate, the DX Schweizen muzzle, which is the max damage range muzzle device, and then the longest barrel. I forget what it's called, but whatever barrel adds the most range. Those 5 attachments did swimmingly. Because also that long barrel does give you hip fire accuracy. And
does it?
Yes, it does.
The barrel. Okay, the barrel, yeah.
Yeah. So you're getting a little hip fire accuracy help, but not much. But I'd rather have damage range than hip fire accuracy if I have to pick one or the other. So that's why I go with like the muzzle instead of a 7 milliwatt laser or an underbarrel. But anyway, that was my loadout. And then for perks, I was running Battle Hardened, which was a wasted perk. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Overkill, because I'm not hitting a buy station's a fucking ordeal. So we'll get into that. But you can't just buy your second gun like you can on Al Mazrah all willy-nilly. It's an excursion. So I'm not doing that. Getting overkill directly in the loadout, so I get both my guns. And then bonus perk was fast hands. It's Ashika Island, that's kind of obvious. Yeah. And then ultimate perk was high alert. Again, extremely useful, probably a must-have. The only question I have about my loadout is what I should take instead of battle hardened, because it did nothing for me in the last 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Yep.
What were you running? And then what do you
I'll start
think
with
I
the
should
perks
have been running?
too, since you were saying that. I was running overkill, so I'll talk about my guns after. Overkill, I was running bomb squad. Also, I don't think bomb squad helped me once either. I don't know what it is. I don't get hit by tacticals and I don't get hit by lethals in this game. I think it's because so many of the people you're fighting maybe are coming back through resurgence, so they don't have lethals anyways or something. True. No one can get their loadout. It's not possible to get your loadout. We'll get into that. So I feel like people just don't have lethals that often or something. I don't know. So, but I did have bomb squad. I would definitely change that to overkill and double time. I think it felt fucking slow, especially running an AR and a shotgun. It is miserable being able to sprint for 4 steps and then you don't have sprint anymore, especially when neither of the guns I was using had very good mobility. So I think that's what I would run. I was using fast hands also, and then also high alert. Fast hands and high alert, I think, are required, and overkill you could kind of go either way, but you kind of need the money to get your loadout. Well, how do I say this? You don't have, there's no buy stations, and they're never safe either. So it's like you go to a buy station one time. So you want to just wait till you have your money and then pretty much buy your loadout with your squad or something, because it's hard to buy individual guns. Or it's hard to do both. You either buy an individual gun and then you never have perks the rest of the game, or you get your loadout. So usually we would end up just getting our loadout. So that's why I would recommend Overkill. I would not run Overkill on Al Mazrah ever, but I think on this small map, because of how chaotic it is and how few buy stations there are currently, you want to just hit a buy station, be done with it, get your loadout, don't worry about it anymore, or get the free loadout if that's possible.
I'm hard pressed to think of a time where I would have been able to buy a second gun if I was not running Overkill. I think it is necessary on this map.
Yeah, exactly.
At least in the current state, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
I think you're right, though. I think double time is the best. I think double time Overkill is the play for this map, because you're going to have to rotate through extremely dangerous territory every single match.
Yep.
So if you can tack sprint more, that can often save your life, probably. Yeah. So I bet you double time is actually the best one. Yeah. You would think battle hardened or bomb squad, but like Tanner said, I just didn't get hit with tacticals or lethals ever.
Definitely not battle hard. I don't even know why you ran that at all, honestly.
I thought I was gonna get
even in this, everyone in
once.
Warzone 2 runs smoke grenades pretty much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm like the only person that runs flash on that map. So that's what I was running. I was running flash and Semtex too. I guess I could say that. I don't think either of them ever really did anything, but whatever. So for my shotgun build, I copied J God's exact build he made a video on. Don't love the build, I'll be honest, but it's like when you're 3 meters away from them, it doesn't really matter. So I was like, okay, I guess it's fine. But it was the Gunner D20 barrel, the Dragon's Breath rounds, the bolt that gives you faster fire rate, like Raz said, the drum mag, and then his build has the stockless mod on it, which kills your hip fire accuracy. So I don't know. I don't think that build is very ideal. The thing is also, even with stockless mod, the mobility on the gun fucking sucks. So I don't really see why it's necessary. So I didn't love it. The Dragon's Breath rounds felt fine, but honestly, I think overall, I think I would rather not use the Dragon's Breath rounds, because it really kills your damage range by it's very noticeable. I'm not sure if it's worth killing people in one less shotgun shell within like fucking 4 meters or something when it kills your damage range past that. I don't know. It is one of the things that makes it so annoying, though, is when you fire it, people just get like confused because there's fire everywhere. So that kind of helps you in a way too. But then the other thing is I also can't see anything. So I'm just shooting into where I thought the guy was. No idea if he's there. I'm just basing it off of hopefully getting hit markers, because you can't see you can't see the guy once you start firing that thing. It's just, there's zero visibility because of the fire everywhere. So I don't know. I didn't love that build, but it's really good up close.
Yeah.
And then I use the Hemlock because I wanted to try out both the new guns. Of course, I have Orion on both of them, so I wanted to be super disrespectful. Hemlock felt good and felt like a gun that's not overpowered. It felt like how every gun should feel in this game. It felt like the perfect time to kill at medium to long range, where it was never overpowered once. Yeah. I ran a barrel to give me a little bit more velocity and damage range, because I knew I had the shotgun handled up close, so I wanted to be able to reach out a little bit further. So I ran a barrel. I ran the horizontal muzzle device, which I run on pretty much every build, because you need horizontal recoil control a lot on KBAM, because it's not possible to control horizontal. And then I ran the 45 round mag. I ran a red dot. I think I ran the slim fire red dot, and then I did the like the skeleton looking rear grip, which is sprint to fire and aim down
ADS,
sight speed. And it felt good. The gun, even with that build, did not have very much recoil. Really good up close, easy to track like upper torso and head. So I liked that a lot. I don't think I would change anything on that, but I think make some adjustments to the shotgun and mess around with that some more. But yeah, all of that felt good. And I guess I already talked about perks. Yeah, that's everything for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, on the Dragon's Breath issue, I think I'm probably gonna end up dropping it, because it kills your damage range and your bullet velocity. But also, you have to give up a hip fire accuracy attachment to take it. So if you don't run Dragon's Breath, you get more damage range and velocity by not having Dragon's Breath. And then also you get a tighter hipfire spread, which is adding even more effective damage range. So I think that's probably gonna be better ultimately. It makes it way more versatile. It takes it from being insane inside of like 4 meters to being virtually insane inside of like 8, you know? And that's like a big deal, actually. So, yeah, I don't think Dragon's Breath is probably worth it ultimately. It's not bad. It's definitely workable, but yeah. Anyway, that's what we were running. I think, yeah, the only thing I would change with my loadout is taking off Dragon's Breath and then putting on Double Time, because Battle Harden was actually a wasted perk. All right, so now we're going to get into some observations. This is where we're kind of scattershot here. First of all, the circles. Miserable, dog shit, awful, trash, Caldera circles. It's very weird because on Al Mazrah, the circles seem pretty good. They seem pretty varied. It's not. They're even better than Verdansk circles, because sometimes a Verdansk circle, I think my retainer is making that hard to say, would be like half of the circles just outside of the map. But on Al Mazrah, like we really very rarely have that issue, it feels like, at least lately. That is not true at all on Ashika. The circles are often miserable and dog shit because now the water is technically a playable area. So there was one time, this screenshot isn't even it. There was one time where, this is a great one for a different reason, we'll get into that, but there was one time where the very first circle was like 70% water. It was on like the northeastern or northwestern, I think, like tip of the map. Just completely fucking miserable. What are we doing? And there's also 52 players, kind of a lot. So when your first circle only has 10% of the landmass of your map in it, it's going to be a real hot drop. It's going to be real hot. Yeah. Because everyone's going to be fighting for the one atoll, the one sliver of land that they can fucking stand on for the rest of the entire game.
Yep.
Which is not great. So the circles need some help. That is point number 1 here.
They need a lot of help. Yeah.
So anyway.
No, I think the strat to winning this mode, by the way, is if you get one of those water circles, you need to get akimbo pistols or something you can use underwater and just actually go sit in the water for 20 minutes until the game ends there, and then you're going to win. Because you can just go underwater and kill everyone, because everyone else has 2 main guns, so they can't shoot underwater, so they have to try to beat you to death. Just swim up to everyone and shoot them in the water. I think that's the play. Yeah, the circles were fucking miserable. It's like They just, yeah, I mean, you described it perfectly. They felt like Caldera circles. Immediately, half of the zone is unplayable territory virtually. It's really, really weird. Like, there was like, I think we had one default circle where it was just land mostly. I think it was the last game we played where it was like towers, Tilted Towers was right in the middle. But there was no buy there, so we didn't land there. It's not Promenade. It does not resemble Promenade at all. It's Tilted Towers. It's Promenade. And so we landed Tilted Towers, and there's no buys. Or we were going to, there's no buy, so we couldn't go there. But that was the one default circle we had. But yeah, just dog shit circles, always. Yeah. It's just half of it is in the water constantly.
Yeah, it's really bad. And this dovetails nicely into the next point, the water.
Yes.
So what I was really worried about when we learned there was going to be water in Warzone 2 is now coming to fruition. Luckily not on the big map, but on the small map, because there's a lot more water on this map. And because of Caldera circles, you have to be in them a lot more also. So it's like a little double whammy here. And there was a game where it was 4 versus 4. We were outside of the water, which I would think would be where I want to be. And I have today learned I'm wrong. So we're outside the water. They are inside the water. we're in a team fight. I'm shooting a guy. He jumps into the water. He disappears. I don't see him anymore. And he just melts me from underwater. And I could not see him at all. At all.
Yep.
Not at all. Then the same thing happens to Lag. Then the same thing happens to Tanner. And 3 out of 4 of us died to someone underwater only because we couldn't see them, and then we lost that game. That is insane. Completely insane. And that is what I feared was going to be the case with the big map. Luckily, it's not, and I'll take it. But it is a problem with the small map. You cannot see people underwater, and they can see you, and they can fuck your little butt. And they don't make any sound in the water either. Oh yeah, and there's no sound in the water too, which is fun and exciting. 3 out of 4 of our team died because we couldn't see a player that we know is right there in the water. They need to change that a lot. Take water out of BRs, but there are other things that could be done. But yeah, there's also no sound. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know how they even would balance the water. I think one way to do it, the easiest thing they could do is make it so you can only stay underwater for like a dog shit amount of time, like 3 seconds. And then you need to be above water for like at minimum 3 seconds. Because you can stay under there. I mean, it's way longer than like you can stay in gas with a gas mask on. It is fucking forever. You can just sit underwater. They can't see you. There's also 0 hit reg. So even if they somehow do see you and start shooting at your body, if you're like above water and they see your head, you cannot hit any of their body besides their head pretty much. It is just all of it is bad. So this guy he would go under the water, stay under there for a long time, pop up where he can shoot, and his gun is firing like a normal gun underwater. That's another thing you can change. If I'm floating on the water, firing my AR with one hand, hey, maybe make the recoil 4 times the amount as when I'm on land or something, Exactly. Again, that's probably something that's just not possible for them to do or implement well. So that'll never happen either. But I mean, something needs to change because you just pop up out of the water. They see your fucking forehead and your gun, and you can perfectly gun someone down. Then what do? I just hold down Z, go back underwater. They have no clue where I'm at. I swim 30 feet in a different direction. I don't take a single point of damage. I pop up again. I down another guy because, again, he has no clue where to look, and you can't see them when they pop up. It's miserable. It's awful. And yeah, you complained about this when the map was leaked by Tom Henderson, and he talked about the water, and then COD Next came out. We're like, water's not going to be an issue. It is now a big issue on this map specifically. It is a huge issue. And unfortunately, a lot of the circles end in water, like that one did. So that guy, if that was on land, we easily win that gunfight. That's the freest win but we lose it ever. Because he has water. And there's nothing skillful about just staying and hiding underwater and then moving and popping up in a different location. There's nothing skillful about that fight, and he wins that. And of course, he also had like a dark skin on, and the water, or since the lighting on the map is cloudy, overcast, you don't see his head at all with his little hoodie or whatever was on when he pops out of water. So it's dog shit. And it sucks because there's so much water on this map, but that can be solved by never having a circle ending in the water ever. Have the circle pull towards water in one of the later circles, so it's in there, but never have the last few circles, the last couple tiny circles in the water ever. Not once, please. Yeah. Not fun to fight in. So now that we know that, I mean, if we're in that situation again, we're all getting underwater. We're not staying on land at all. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm getting amphibious. Absolutely. The next time that ever happens. I think, the circles should fix the circles. And then also, I think the suggestion you made was great, which is like, if you're treading water and you're ADS and shooting, you should have actually like 5x normal recoil. Because you would in real life, I would imagine. I mean, there's no... And even if you wouldn't in real life, by the way, do it anyway to balance the mechanic. You should be punished for being in the water, like a lot. And you certainly shouldn't be advantaged massively, which you are at this current point. So, yeah, I think that would be... I think maybe they could do it. I mean, they increase recoil control automatically if you're mounted. So they could use the same, like, whatever coding system they're doing for that
except just put the slider the other way if you're like swimming. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a dev.
Gabriel just said in chat,
the fuck out.
Melee works real good underwater. That's what I eventually tried to do to the guy, because I jumped in the water and I was chasing him around. I'm not kidding, guys. He's 5 feet in front of me and you lose track of him. He makes one turn, I can't see him anymore. He's just... they're like invisible under there. It's probably the skin he was wearing. My skin has like red on the hood, so he probably sees me more clearly. And then all you have to do is melee once. His whole character will turn 180 degrees, then he's locked on to me. So once he's locked on, there's nothing you can do, and I'm just dead. Because I got like one melee hit on him, because that's what I was trying to do, and then he just turned around and meleeed me to death instead. But that is what I think you're supposed to do, is just melee people in the water like that. Yeah. Fun FPS game, by the way. The strat is to, anyways, the water's miserable. And I'm not surprised at all by that. Another thing, too, I had originally said when we first talked about Ashika that the visibility was better than I expected it to be based off of the blog post. That's still true, but the visibility is definitely not good. Playing today, like even outside the water, the visibility is not great on this map. It's too dark. I was afraid it was going to be too dark and too foggy. It turns out it's just a little too dark. There's actually not even fog. I don't even think about the fog anymore. Yeah, it's just too dark.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm not getting as many of the red triangles as I do on El Mazrah on this map. Like, I specifically remember a couple instances where I was on Promenade Roof looking down. I see people running by and there's no diamond. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'd be getting a red diamond here if this was Mazrah. Like, I'm almost positive, actually, but I'm not here. Plus, it's darker and the visibility's worse. So that's like a double whammy in terms of enemy recognition. The visibility's not great on this map. It's more of an issue than I first let on when we first talked about this. It's not terrible. It's okay. It's playable. But it definitely could be better, and I wish the map was a lot brighter. But that was always true. I mean, don't make overcast, dark maps ever.
I don't know why we're still doing this.
Yeah, it's insane. But unfortunately, there were some times where I did not think the visibility was very great. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was difficult to see people at times. I think some of the buildings are okay, some of them aren't. I don't know. I didn't think about it too much. It was more actually when we were like on the roof of different buildings looking down, and people were like, outside of Castle, how it's surrounded by all those like rocks and like little ledges and shit.
Yes.
When people were there, they blend in with all that very well. You don't see anything.
Yep, they do.
So that's part of it, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, not great, not as terrible as we've had. I mean, still, this visibility is better than
it's
looking
acceptable.
East on Verdansk 84. So
for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, cool.
Next point here, I almost forgot to write it down, which is a great thing. They did add in the new contract where you pick up the search and seizure and then it spawns AI in a vehicle or whatever. We saw one person do that in 2.5 hours. So that's good.
I don't even know where the contracts were. I'm not sure how many are even on the map.
We weren't looking for them, to be fair. But
I don't know how you do a contract on this map. You don't even have time to think about going to grab one.
I can't believe you have
it's just
time
nonstop
to
fighting.
Stop plating and actually pick up a contract. Yeah.
Like actually, yeah. I was the first one to spot it when we were on towers, Tilted Towers, of course, that is. Tilted Towers on the map. It's Tilted Towers. And I was like, oh, there's fucking AI. They're just hanging out. And they didn't aggro me. I was 40 meters away on a roof. They ignored me. I had a grenade launcher. I saw a guy going up. Must have been his contract. So he starts shooting them. What do? While he's fighting AI, I third party him. I kill him with the grenade launcher. When I fire the grenade launcher and get the down, then the AI started shooting at me, or one of them started shooting at me, and then I just stopped peeking them again. So I don't know if they would have remained aggro or how that works exactly. But yeah, I'm glad they didn't aggro me at that angle, because I feel like if this was Al Mazrah, they would have, like, AI would be aggroing you from there. So I don't know. May not be that big of an issue, but again, not all the AI is in. We still don't have that other public event that's going to happen. Yeah. That sounds like the worst version. Well, there will be lots of AI, but overall, it's mostly a non-issue.
Yeah, that was pleasing to me. I agree with you. Data heist is going to be more of an issue because it's a public event. You can't like opt out. It's like if we play a lobby and no one picks up that contract, there won't be AI. But the data heist thing, there will be AI whether anyone wants it or not. So it has the potential. It will get worse. There will be more AI. But in terms of just the contract, yeah, people just weren't doing it. And when they were, I mean, we were on a roof, so I guess it wouldn't have affected us either way. But yeah, luckily so far, not too big of a deal, which was good.
Yep.
So,
my next thing here is something else just feels weird about the pacing and the circles. So like, let's take Rebirth, for example. If I land at the roof of prison, I can stay on the roof of prison for what feels like 10 minutes. I don't have to think about moving into zone. I don't have to think about rotations. I don't have to use my brain at all. I'm just on the roof, like shooting people. And you don't have to worry about moving in at all. It felt like in this, no matter where we landed, if we landed outside the zone, if we landed in the middle of the zone, every time the circle shrinks, it feels like it shrinks so much and you have to move so far. It's so odd, and I just can't figure it out. Something is weird with the circles, and I feel like they're not the same as they were in Rebirth and Keep. It feels like they don't last as long, so it feels like the circles close like 30 seconds earlier or something. It feels like the gas itself moves in quicker. All of it just feels off. It may be exactly the same. It must be the shape of the map, how half the circle to start with is out of the water. I don't know what exactly it is, but it just felt really off, and like we always had to be rotating and moving, which got really fucking annoying when there are 5 guys constantly landing on you every 10 seconds. It's hard to just like move.
Yeah.
And it's just, you just have to constantly do it. Felt like we were always on like riding the gas or trying to fight through it or something. I don't know. It was just, the whole circle experience is just a nightmare.
I think what it was, and I'm with you. I don't know if it's different than how Fortune's Keep or Rebirth was. It honestly feels like it is in some way. I don't know what way that is. Feels very
different, yeah.
But something is weird because the vast majority of the time when it was circle 1 to 2 was like a dramatic reduction in circle size that I feel like is not how it used to be. So I think the way to solve this issue is they need to actually just add another circle in the same time frame. So, you know, if by now, let's say final circle is 15 minutes after the start of the game, and the final circle is the 7th circle. They need to just do, instead, there are 8 circles in that 15 minutes instead of 7, for example. So that each shrinking of the circle is taking away less area, so you have to travel less far to get in. Or something. I don't know what it is. But every time the circle closes, it is dramatic and you have to go really far. Like it closes a ton. I don't know why. Maybe we got profoundly unlucky or something, but man, it was every game. I don't know what it is, but something feels weird. And I feel like I had to travel a far distance to get in every time. Another thing it could be is that this is a hilly map. So there's like a lot of up and downs. And so maybe it feels like it's longer than it is as the crow flies. That's possible, but I think it's also just, even as the crow flies, these are like dramatic shrinkings happening. I don't know what's going on there, but it needs some help, I think.
Yeah, there's some help that is needed for sure.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but yeah.
Then staying on topic with the map, it feels way smaller than it is, because as we said, so much of the map is water. So that takes up space on the map. So they're like, oh, this map is this size. Well, it's not, because 30% of that size they just gave you was water. So you're not really ever playing in that until the circle ends there, and then you're forced to. Right. So you're not landing in the water. The half of the map actually is just POUs. Shipwreck, there hasn't once been a buy station at Shipwreck ever. I don't know why that's even on the map. Just literally remove it and also make that water, I think.
Yeah.
All along there, can you pull up the map, actually?
Yeah, let's pull up this little screenshot. So this is a screenshot.
Well, I meant the whole screenshot of the map. Hold on. Oh, it's not in this document.
You want to pull up the map? I could pull up the map. Hold on.
Yeah, let's pull it up and take a little peek at this map. I thought it was too. We must have accidentally deleted it, because I'm pretty sure it was there.
Maybe it's on the Wednesday.
It's on the it's on the Wednesday. I have it open.
I'll put it in. I'll put it on our Saturday template.
Okay.
Go on.
Yeah, so I mean, just look at the map. The Far East side, Shipwreck, worthless. No one's going there ever. Shipwreck kind of wraps around on the north side and the northeast side of the map. Also useless. No one's going there either. It's a big beach. So no one's landing any of those areas. The whole north side of the map, north of residential, north of farms, anything north of that main road, hardly anyone's going there either. A waste of space. The far northwest corner of the map, there's a decent amount of loot there actually, but if there's not a buy, no one's going there either. A wasted space on the map. Port, the biggest POI on the map, takes up the most space. I'm not exaggerating. We just played 4 games in a row. There was not one time a buy station at port. So what does that mean? No one's going there. So an issue like that with the buy station, the flow will kind of be fixed if they spread out buy stations more. But basically, so much of the map people are not going to, because the POIs are either uninteresting and there's nothing there, or there are areas with no buy stations. So this leaves the whole lobby dropping at castle and farms. And then it's just constant fighting and people landing on you. And it's not very, well, you can say it's fun, but it's disastrous actually is what it is.
Chaotic,
so basically the TLDR is the map feels very small because some of the POIs are completely and utterly worthless, and it's just a bunch of wasted space. So really, this is the smallest Resurgence map we've ever had by a lot in terms of how it actually feels and plays.
I totally agree. Yeah. It's funny because they kind of solved this issue on El Mazrah by adding in more buy stations and then making them static, so that every POI has at least one buy. So they're all kind of worth going to. And most of them are in the playable space also, because there isn't water covering 50% of the quote unquote playable area, which no one's actually going to land at because there's no loot in the water. So obviously that's not going to happen. But they didn't take that into account. So they say, oh, well, the square footage of the map is whatever, X, but they're counting the water where there's no loot, so no one's going to land there. So it's actually quite a bit smaller than that because people are going to land on loot, obviously. And so you've made the lobby size, for example, for the original square footage, but you, since you don't play your own game, didn't realize that no one's actually going to be doing that. You might have added too many people, which we're going to get into. But yeah, that on top of not having static buys means you're not only is the water an area where no one's going to land, landing outside of the circle is another place no one's going to land. And then landing at a POI without a buy is another place where no one's going to land. So now we have 52 people fighting over 2 or 3 POIs max right out of the plane. And then the whole thing is a chaotic disaster dumpster fire. So take a look at this screenshot Tanner took. This is us in the plane, obviously. This is the first circle, the very beginning of the map. So a couple things to notice here. Number one, first of all, this circle, pretty dog shit. 20% of it is just outside of the playable area, including water.
It's more than 20%. That's like 40% of the circle because it goes further than you can even see it.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
so
it's miserable.
a lot of it is in an area where you will just die if you're in. And then
actually.
another 20 to 40%, I don't know, whatever, is in water. So no one's going to land there. So this is, again, we just started the game. Like, we're in the plane for a second. Tanner opens the map, takes a screenshot. We're all in the plane right now. Okay. So 20% not playable area. Another 40% in water. Okay. And this is not, by the way, even close to the worst first circle we saw today.
No. This was an average circle on this map.
This was like a C plus average Ashika starting circle. So, okay, start there. So now we have some landmass, right? Okay. Let's take a look at the buy station situation inside of the very first circle.
Yes.
1 second into the game. So shipwreck, no buy. There's one in the fucking complete open on the road where you will die if you go to. Cool. All of this dog shit. Residential, there's one buy. Okay, cool. This random buy. Okay, cool. A buy at Promenade. That's why we landed there. That's why you'll notice my mark is we're landing there, because it's 2 buildings, the best buildings in the game, by the way, and a buy station. Castle, the biggest POI in your entire game.
The hot drop location.
0 buy stations. None.
Within, I mean, the closest one is what? If you land directly in the middle of Castle, what's that closest buy? It's got, what are each of these grids? 100 meters? Are these 100 meters each? So that's like 150 meters out, basically.
Yeah, maybe more than 150. I don't know, whatever. Either way, no buys at fucking Castle, which is insane. And then we take a look up here, go northwest a little bit at this fucking dumbass building. 2 buys, 50 meters, 50.
Not even.
30 meters?
Probably
apart?
30 meters apart. Yep.
I mean, what are we doing?
And then you look south of the circle because oh, we can land port. How? What you land port?
No
There's
buy.
not a single buy station there. That takes up more space on the map than any other POI. Again, not a single buy. Oh, we can just rotate in a castle. No, there's no buy there either. So this is a simple fix. This is a simple fix. Static buy stations, and I'm not kidding, minimum double the amount that we see right now in a random game. Minimum double the amount.
I think actually
maybe even 2.5.
POI.
Yeah, I mean, Port should have a guaranteed one on the east side of Port and the west side of Port.
Yeah.
Beach Club should have like 2 down there. Yeah, Castle should have 2. Castle should have 1 where the chopper area is, maybe even 2 kind of close to there, and then 1 up to the northeast where that bounty is right there.
Yeah.
That's another fun and exciting thing. Castle, the hot drop location. 1 contract and it's a most wanted.
Yeah.
Look at fucking residential. 3 little houses, we got 3 contracts up there.
Yeah.
And then just some other little annoying features, like the map shows me down in the water a bunch of jet skis. I don't need those on my map. It's just clutter on my map. So it's like, cool. It looks like there's 4 jet skis parked at Castle, but no, they're underground, of course, and it shows up on my mini map. Holy
annoying.
fucking clutter. There are actually 3 times the amount of vehicles on your mini map as anything else.
Yeah.
So that's very annoying too, and that will never be changed. But holy shit, dude, look how many personal watercrafts there are. There are more personal watercrafts at Port than there are buy stations on the map.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. What the fuck, man?
Actually true.
It's incredible. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
play tested once, by the way.
So here's the thing. Look at this map. Look at this starting circle. Imagine you're playing quads. Okay? You're playing quads. Ashika Island Resurgence. Where do you land?
I kill myself. I just land. I just fall to my death, I think, and I re-queue. Yeah. I mean, holy fucking shit.
Yeah. So here are your options on where to land. You can land residential because there's a buy there and some contracts. You can land at whatever the fuck this building is here. You can land at the towers. And that's it. I mean, if you want to have a buy and also some cover, you have 3 different locations you could choose from. That's all. You could maybe argue 4 around here, maybe. I'll be generous, I'll say 4. So these are 4 potential drop spots that are all inside of this tiny ass area 1 second into the game. So guess how this game went, by the way. We landed at these towers and we fought nonstop the entire game, and only one person was able to hit this buy one time, me, and only because I had a smoke grenade. So I fucking smoked it while I'm getting shot, dove on it, bought some plates, ran back inside. No one ever went to a buy station again. That's it. That's all, the only buying anyone on my team did.
We had no loadout. We had no plates. We had no ammo the rest of that game.
No bitches. It was a disaster. A complete disaster.
Yeah.
So you're taking 52 people and forcing them to one of 4 spots that are all within 100 meters of each other. So the entire game is taking place here off of the rip. Why make a whole ass map when you're going to make 52 people fight this close? But that's what you've done because of the buy stations being random and dog shit and not guaranteed and not static. And the circles. This is a disastrous circle, first circle. And having your map be water also.
Yep.
All of those things added together, all of a sudden 52 players are within 100 meters of each other the second the game starts, which is not why you make a map. I mean, it's a joke. It's like if you guys have ever played during Christmas once upon a time for one of these fucking games we've been talking about, there was a Call of Duty Christmas playlist called Shipment 12v12. You ever play that? That's what every game of Ashika Island feels like.
Yep.
Everyone. Now, originally what we had written down was 52 players is actually too many for this map. That was an original thought that we had. But now that I think about it, I'm not sure 52 is too many. If the circles were better and there were more buys and they were placed well and static, maybe that would spread people out enough to where 52 would be fine. 52 might be too many anyway, but with how these circles are and how these buys are, 52 is absolutely too many. So one of those things needs to change, if not both. Because it's way more chaotic than Rebirth has ever been, than Fortune's Keep has ever been. Ever. It's every game is constant action because of all of those things, those 3 things.
Yeah, it's I mean, actually, there are 5 jet skis at port on this image. The starting first circle, we have 6 total buy stations in the zone, and 4 of them are literally within 75, 100 meters of each other. So yeah, it just leads to really, really poor gameplay. I still think there are far too many people on the map because of the resurgence timer shit they added, which we'll talk about too. But yeah, it's just, I mean, this is miserable. And what's funny is this buy station you were just talking shit about over on the east side, where you said this buy station out in the middle of nowhere, that was the one we ended up hitting and buying our guns at late game, because that was the only one left, and we all like died because our loadout landed on the north beach here, north of residential, and not once could we hit it because Smile, there's a team camping it, because why not? Because the free loadout drop is inaccessible. So yeah, it's just so many things pile on top of each other that make like the experience crazy.
Yeah, so we have a lot more to talk about with this map, but I will say this right now. The silver lining here is that all of these problems are very easily fixed. They're very easily fixed.
Agreed, yeah.
And I think they're going to fix at least the buy station situation. They did this bullshit random buy stations on Al Mazrah, and then they realized it's a bad idea and then changed it. So then they made static buys and they're well placed. I don't know why they like forgot they did that a week ago when they released another new map, but they're going to do that for Ashika certainly also. And probably pretty soon we're going to have static buys on Ashika always that are in the same spots every game. And they're going to be placed reasonably well, I think. So that solution or that fix, that problem is definitely going to get fixed. So that's good. There's some silver lining there. And then the circles, I think they're probably going to address. I find that.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Less likely, but definitely more than 50% chance, I would say, that they address the circle here. And just between those two things, I think like Resurgence quads would play infinitely better. Even the buy stations alone would make it play better. Because again, look at this screenshot. Imagine if there were, even if there was just one guaranteed buy at every POI. Well, now I'd be down to land farms. I'd be down to land port. I'd be down to land shipwreck. I'd be down to land beach club. It would like open up. It would spread people out tremendously. I would be down to land castle. Like even that alone would have made this game a lot less of a clusterfuck than it was. And that change will come. So there's a silver lining there. But as it stands, yeah, it's just so fucking chaotic. It's insane.
Yeah, and pretty much almost none of this is the fault of the map itself. It is everything else. Like the POUs, shipwreck, and those dog shit POIs, they would be used if there were like 2 buy stations down there, because there is loot out on the boats and shit. We've been there before in a circle ending. There are chests out there.
Yes.
It's just the fact that I'm not going to land there ever if there's no buy station, because it's like, why would I go down there out of my way, then have to come up from the beach to then hit a buy somewhere? So none of these are the map itself. The map itself is actually fine in most cases. It's just the circles, the buy stations, all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you, and I guess we'll mention that now. The map itself, I feel the same way I did with First Impressions. Besides the water, obviously. The map itself, I quite like. I actually like it more now than I did on First Impressions. I think it's really dynamic and fun when I'm on land, and also the people I'm shooting and being shot by are also on land. In those circumstances, this map is actually really well designed. I quite like the dry above fucking sea level gameplay on this map. I think it plays really well. I think it's really fun. And I think balloons are going to make it a lot more interesting too.
Oh, I forgot about balloons. Yeah.
But
not needed in the current. If balloons were in right now, I'm glad they didn't add them in. This would be even worse.
Oh my God.
With all these people landing on you and ballooning on you. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they didn't put them in yet. They need some shit to figure out.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think the map itself, the playable area anyway, the non-water, is really, really good. I think it's my favorite of the 3, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't go that far, I don't think.
But
yeah. I mean, honestly, it may actually be my least favorite of the 3, but it's still fine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We have to play it more, but
yeah, we have to play it a lot more. Anyway. But yeah, so what the hot take I keep seeing on the TL, I guess it's not a hot take, everyone thinks it except for me. Everyone keeps complaining about quads. And quads is the reason it's chaotic. It's not quads at all. It's because there are too many teams of quads. Everyone just think it's the squad size or something, and if it were the same, if it were trios with that many people or something, it'd be better. I fully disagree. We just need less teams on the map in general. I think I would like to see this with 44 players instead of 52. I think that would make it play a lot slower, because as of now it is too chaotic. It's by far the most chaotic Resurgence map we've had, and I mean maybe even drop that to 40, honestly. If the circles don't change and shit, and half of them are outside of the playable area immediately, then yeah, you need even 40 players. But yeah, people keep blaming on quads and the squad sizes and hand holders and shit. It's like, well, I mean, I can't even get away from my teammates if I wanted to, because I'm constantly being landed on. I can't move away from my teammates. Yeah. Wherever I land, I'm there fighting nonstop for the first 7 minutes of the game. So it's like, I don't have a choice but to be by my teammates unless we all land on different corners of the map, you know? So it's not the issue of the squad size. I think there are too many teams on the map right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's an open question. I think if they fixed the circles and fixed the buy station situation, which I'm again pretty confident they'll do both of those things, then 52 would feel a lot less chaotic. But 52 still might be too many. Yeah. I think that's an open question. If it wasn't too many after those fixes, it would be at maximum capacity.
Yeah.
There's no way it wouldn't be enough. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't know why people would think it's quad specifically. That is weird to me.
Yeah, I don't think it's just that, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard most of these things we've complained about, like the buy stations, the circles. I really haven't seen a lot of people talking about it, but I guess they're all too busy answering their COD creator emails. They don't have time to complain about anything on Twitter. Yeah.
They're checking how many code usages they got.
Yeah, for sure.
Creator
yeah,
code,
the next thing I wanted to talk about, let me find
Cody
it here.
At the COD shop.
Let me find it here.
Go ahead and fucking
Battle
find
Royale.
it, man.
Battle Royale. Where is it at? It is the Resurgence countdown shit. Holy hell, where is it at?
It's highlighted, man. I highlighted
No,
it
I'm
for
looking in the patch notes. I'm looking in the patch notes.
Oh.
Here it is. Okay.
Oh, I
see. Can't find it. Holy shit, where is it? Where did they put it?
Control F on the move.
On the move, that'd be a good one, yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay. So the new score events they added in this season, we talked about these before the update. Most of them sounded good on paper. So basically, the way Resurgence works, if you open a chest, or the way it used to work, if you open a chest, if you get a down, if you get a full kill, things like that, bring your teammates back quicker. So they added a bunch more in this game, and this is also why it is overly chaotic, because no one gets wiped ever because you immediately spawn back in. So now, picture this. There's a new score event that counts. So your default timer when you die or something is like 30 seconds or something like that. It goes on as the match goes further. There's a new score event called On the Move. So if you run 25 meters when your teammate is dead, you're getting them back 2 seconds quicker. It takes 2 seconds off that timer. So if there are 2 of you left and you guys are running around, you're knocking 4 seconds off that teammate's timer in like a matter of you running for like a second and a half, basically. Yeah. So it's like, you could do this. You can sprint 25 meters and you're getting your teammate back quicker. You can start shooting at an enemy after that you see. If you break all of their armor plates, that is dropping your teammate's timer even more. If you down them, that's again dropping your teammate's time even more. If you headshot them while they're downed, that again is another bonus to get your teammates back quicker. That's 2 more
bonuses because it's a full and a headshot. Yeah.
Exactly. So people come back so quickly constantly because they have too many of these score events now. And don't worry, I think half of these aren't even in the game now.
The data heist isn't yet.
Yeah, because this whole hunt shit, what is the hunt shit actually?
Hunter
Isn't that
spree?
something to do with the data thing?
You eliminate players while they're tracked by the
This is what we never figured out.
I think that's
was that one of the contracts?
Shit, which we're going to get into.
I still don't know what For Armor does.
No, hunt is when if I kill you and then I look at my mini map for that one sweep and then I kill your 2 teammates, I guess that's a hunt. I don't know. It's weird.
Oh wait, it says right here, at any point during a match, eliminating enemy player will display their squad. Okay, so that is the hunt and track thing, is when it pings the enemy team.
So I guess in that time, if you kill 2 other people, you get like a hunter spree.
Yeah, so basically what it is people do not get wiped because there are so many ways to reduce that timer now that it's not possible. I'm not kidding. At one time I looked, we were in the 4th circle of Resurgence, which is such a small circle. And when it first showed that new 4th circle zone, there were 30 players left still. That is a zone like on Rebirth or something, you would probably have 12 players at that point, or a little bit more, probably not that few. But 30 people, like teams just don't get wiped. So it's just nonstop fighting, and then they land back on your head, they melee you. It is so chaotic because teams don't get wiped I mean, it is difficult. You have to be really bad for your squad to get wiped, like early in the game, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
It is difficult for that to happen. You have to try.
I think we didn't win every game today. We did win most, and the ones we didn't win weren't my fault. And of all the times we didn't win the game, I don't think we got wiped before the resurgence was disabled more than one time. I think we only got wiped before the resurgence thing went away one time in like 2 hours. Actually, it's very hard to get wiped, especially early. It's actually a joke. I think the starting timer is 30 seconds. Dude, I would be back almost redeploy pack speed. Like, it's so fast because everything gets you score. Now, it does make the lobby stay alive forever, and it does add to the chaos for sure. I don't know if I'm opposed to it though, because I think if you fixed a lot of other things, I might be okay with this anyway, because then lobbies would stay alive still, but it still wouldn't be quite as chaotic. So if the score event stayed the same and it was like you instantly came back almost like it is now because of all these score events, but there were fewer people in the match, the starting circles were better, and there were more buy stations, that might be okay. It's really hard to judge though, because there are so many factors adding to the chaos, and this is one of them, that it's hard to say if this is like something that should be changed or not, because the game mode is too chaotic. It's far too chaotic. It's not skillful or fun. Well, it is fun. We'll get into it. But I don't know if this is where I would address it. I think if I were the dev in charge here, I would fix the circles, add static buys, not change anything else, and then I'd reevaluate. The next thing I would do is lower the player count. And if it was still too chaotic, then I would address all of the score mechanics that lower the resurgence timer for your teammates. That would be the last thing I address. Maybe it needs to go that far, but if it does, again, I would fix the first three things I mentioned first before that, because in principle, that's the way they should I think these are good.
Yeah.
But it still might be adding too much to the chaos. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, the next point
thing we
here,
we've
already talked about the more buy stations. Just make them static, because right now when two buys are literally 30 meters away from each other, and then there's no buys at castle or port, how does that happen?
Yeah.
Even if you have random buy stations, code it better so that doesn't happen. That's crazy. But whatever, make them static. I think they will. We've talked about that enough.
Yeah, they will make them static at some. I'm sure they're already
100%.
working on that right now, trying to figure out what location should be static, because they just did that to Mazra finally. So
I don't know why they didn't just release it that way, because they're fucking idiots. But whatever. Next is the restore honor mechanic thing, where when you die, you drop the dog tags, whatever. Okay, well, now we've learned a lot about this. Number one, the dog tags are invisible.
Yeah, you have to be staring at the ground where it is.
You do not see them. And number two, you can't pick it up by running over it like a kill confirmed dog tag. You have to literally look at it and loot it like it was a gun. Like, you have to be looking at it and press your whatever button to loot it to actually get the dog tag. And again, the dog tags are like appropriately scaled dog tags. That's how small they are. So imagine your character model, how big that is on your TV or your monitor. The dog tags are like correctly sized. They're 1 pixel on your monitor. They're really small. I never saw that. I'm not kidding. I've never seen the dog tags. I've only seen the loot the dog tag thing. I've never seen an actual dog tag because they're too small. I'm not on a 70-inch TV. Maybe if I was, like many of you, I would see them. But anyways, even when I did loot them, don't care, don't know what happened, didn't help me at all.
I don't. I would just pick them up because they were there. I don't know what it ever did either. It's supposedly supposed to show some guy
I've seen
as a
crates.
red dot on the mini map.
Yeah.
The crates thing it shows, yeah, but showing players or whatever it's supposed to be, like
It's
that guy's
never
squad
shown a
or that
player
guy.
once, yeah.
I've never once seen it. Yeah, but I don't know. Like you said, you don't even have time to look at your mini map after you pick it up because by that time you have 5 other people landing on you again that you have to fight.
Broadside up your asshole, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the restore honor system, it's just kind of silly. I did pick them up a lot, yeah. Not a lot, but a couple times when I was trying to loot ammo, which I didn't auto pick up, which I should be, so fix it.
Yep, still not auto picking up.
Yeah, but it does show the boxes, which is fine, I guess. And I never saw a player because I picked it up once ever. That never happened. So it just seems very unnecessary for that reason. And also, even if it does show players, it's way, way more reliable to just have the hunt mechanic, which is in the game and works and is good, where if I kill you, I get 1 ping of your teammates. That's all you need. You don't need the dog tag shit on top of it. It's not necessary. So
Yeah, I agree.
This is one of those things where it doesn't add to the game, but it doesn't subtract from it either. I don't care. But it is way less relevant than we thought it might be when we talked about this before the map came out. Far less relevant. It's completely irrelevant, in fact. No one's ever camped the dog tag because no one knows it's there. So it doesn't matter at all. So just letting you guys know on that topic.
Yeah.
I forgot about the system until I was randomly trying to pick up a stack of AR ammo. And then I saw that, like, oh, pick up this dumb fuck's dog tags. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I picked it up. And then I saw the crates. That was the only thing that mattered.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Yep.
Anyway. Next is the free loadout. So this one is where I'm not sure what we need to do here. Again, it's hard to address an issue about this map when it is as chaotic as it is right now. So again, if they fixed the buy stations, the circles, and maybe the player count, maybe this would stop being an issue. But as it stands now, the free loadout drop is quite often not obtainable.
Yeah. Always a team camping them. Worse than what we saw in Al Mazrah early on, which is what a lot of people complained about, is loadouts being camped. It's worse than that.
Oh yeah. Pretty much every loadout gets camped. Yeah. And also your loadout will almost always drop next to other people's loadouts too, which is how it worked in, Warzone 1. But there weren't 52 people in trying to compete for 5 square feet in Warzone 1.
Yeah.
So it wasn't quite as bad. So I don't know what would need to change here. Again, if all the issues we've been talking about were fixed, maybe the free loadout as it stands now would actually be fine. But if not, then it needs to come sooner, or there needs to be a second free loadout drop, or both. And I would say, ideally, both, because Warzone, and especially Resurgence, is about getting your loadout and then playing with your loadout guns. That is the Call of Duty Warzone experience. Make it easier for me to get my loadout. It shouldn't be easier for me to get a loadout in Al Mazrah than fucking Resurgence. Yet it is.
Yeah.
So change it.
Yeah, that's what I never understand, is why the loadout drops so late in Resurgence. I mean, the loadout should be dropping a minute and a half after you hit the ground from the plane. Also, I think they should let you buy them for a lot cheaper. 20k in quads in Resurgence is far too much on this small of a map when you're constantly fighting and teammates are constantly dying, therefore losing money. It's absurd. A loadout in quads on Resurgence should be like less than 15k, I would say. honestly think it should be like 12,000. It should be so easy to get a loadout that you can get it quickly before the first free loadout, so you can actually start playing the game instead of fighting with the atrocious ground loot from the what do they call themselves? The weapon gurus or whatever the fuck they are.
The gunsmith
cocksucking gurus. Yeah,
fucking idiots. Yeah,
those guys. Yeah,
it's like 5K per person in Al Mazrah. It should be like 3K per person. Yeah,
it's the same price in Al Mazrah, exactly. And you can land at POIs that have way more money, uncontested, and get a loadout way faster in Al Mazrah on the big map than in the Resurgence Children's game mode, which is just designed for chaotic, nonstop fighting. So therefore, let me get my loadout way faster.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree. So next point here is the plate situation. They did a patch recently, and they said, hey, we added plates to Ashika Island. And they did. It's fine. I still want more plates than I'm getting, but that's because it's a chaotic nightmare every single second of the game, not because there aren't enough plates. So once they fix, again, the circles and the buys, I think the plate situation will sort itself out. I think there are enough plates. I think it's probably fine.
Yeah, I think there are a good amount of plates.
But that's because it's just so fucking crazy always. That's the problem there. It's not lacking plates. So yeah, the plate situation is good.
Yeah, it's a big difference now. It's similar to Al Mazrah, where you can go in like a little shack. Like when we land Tilted Towers, you can go into like some of the little apartment, like I guess the apartments themselves, and like on the kitchen counter there will be like 3 or 4 plates on the counter there. You go into the bathroom, there will be a couple in the bathroom. There are a lot. It is far more than we had on launch, so that's a lot better experience there.
Yeah, for sure.
So overall I think that's good.
So yeah, good for them for doing that. I mean, again, but glad it happens. And by the way, when if the fact that you now have a guaranteed plate drop when you die, that was a great change too. That was tremendously helpful, actually. It encouraged me often to go loot a body I probably wouldn't have looted otherwise, which is good because it's encouraging movement. And I need that plate. So one's not too many, but it's also nice to have. So that's good too. Yeah. Next is counter UAVs. I just want to reiterate what I originally said about Ashika Island, but more forcefully now. Fuck counter UAVs. Absolutely true. They are miserable and dog shit, and they don't add anything to the game. All they do is subtract from the game. They're not fun. They're not exciting. They're not skillful. They don't take skill to use. And there are far too many of them. So minimum, my entire minimap will be scrambled. I'd say minimum 90 seconds per match, but more likely 150 seconds per match. I just don't have a minimap or map, actually. And the best part about that too is that when you have a counter UAV called on you, let's say you were running to your loadout, your earth colored loadout with no icon on your HUD and only an icon on the minimap and map. That disappears. So now I don't know where my loadout is. There was a very specific instance where we were all going to the free loadout to die to someone camping it, probably. So maybe the counter UAV saved us in this case. But anyway, it got called and then we couldn't get it. We couldn't find it. Like, oh, I don't know where it is. Cool. So now I have to wait 30 seconds or whatever for this counter UAV to run out to get my loadout, which is the Call of Duty Battle Royale thing that makes it fun. So that's really cool that it does that, in addition to hiding where buy stations are. And again, a buy station on Ashika Island is a mythical oasis. And if you can actually get to one, you are the happiest person in the match. So it's a rare occurrence. So when I'm running to a buy station and then my minimap gets scrambled, cool. Is it underground in the underground cave network? Or is it above ground? Or is it in the second story of this building? I wouldn't know even if I did have my minimap, but now I don't even know where to look because I don't know where the buy station is because the counter UAV hides that icon also. Change it. Or better yet, remove counter UAVs from the entire game, but certainly from Ashika Island. Now, luckily, I will add, like Al Mazrah, they definitely lowered the drop rate of kill streaks.
They've stealth
counter UAVs.
Yeah, they have stealth nerfed kill streaks spawn rate since the start of the season, 100%. You don't even find them a lot on Al Mazrah anymore. You find them, but not nearly as much as we were.
Not nearly as often, and that did carry over to Ashika, which is really good. So we were not getting streak spammed at all. We had some streaks called on us, but I had an appropriate number of kill streaks called on me. It was not like before at all. So that's really good. And I could tell from looting myself, like we were not finding anything except counter UAVs, which we were finding, again, far too many of. Remove counter UAVs from, at least definitely from Ashika Island, because also the radius of a counter UAV scramble is the same on Ashika as it is in Al Mazrah. Why? There's 8 square feet of landmass. If you give everyone a counter UAV, the entire fucking map is going to be scrambled the entire fucking game. It's really dumb and dog shit, and it needs to at least show icons through it, but also, again, remove them at a minimum from Ashika, if not from the whole game.
And you can shoot them down, but the thing is, like, they could be so far away that you're barely seeing it. So it's like I have to mount up somewhere, single tap to try to hit the thing. And you just don't have time to do that with the current experience of this game because we're constantly nonstop fighting. I don't have time to stare up at the sky like an asshole to try to shoot down some counter UAV when I'm getting, landed on and meleeed in the back of my head. So that's just not possible either. But yeah, I did not find a single precision or mortar strike today, now that I think about it. Not one. Whereas the first 3 chests we opened when the new map dropped, we found streaks. We found mortar strikes. And so they have absolutely stealth
100%
nerfed them, like without a doubt. And this is something they changed a lot in Warzone and something that's never been in the patch notes. I don't know if they've ever said, I think at one point during Caldera, they'd said something about the streaks, but this is not something.
Not IDub.
I mean, no, even then, I feel like there will be a lot of changes to the streaks spawn rate, and they just generally won't ever say anything about it. So they 100% did change that and just didn't mention it.
Which is really good.
Which is good. Good for the game, yeah. But now do the same with counter UAVs.
Exactly. Yeah, stealth. Yeah.
Actually, that's what they did. They didn't nerf the streak spawn rate. They just made 90% of them counter UAVs. Yeah, and then you could also buy counter UAVs, so... Yeah, that's not a great experience either, though.
It's really dumb. But, again, not the end of the world, but really not good. So that didn't help. But lastly, I will say, I'd rather get counter UAV spammed than fucking mortar spammed. So it's better than it was before.
Yeah.
But, I mean, anyway. Next is a little tip for you guys. If you haven't figured this out by now, you have to run smoke grenades on this map, or you are never getting into the next zone ever. Every single rotate, I either had a smoke on me, or I might as well just die now to start the timer.
Yeah.
Every rotate that I survived is because of a smoke, pretty much. Like, they are completely giga essential. Do you want to buy something? You have to have a smoke grenade. Again, I was talking about earlier when we were at Promenade. I was the only person to hit the buy station, and it's only because I had a smoke grenade. I was being shot when I went to the roof to throw it before going back into the building to plate and then jump out again and hit the buy. It was being watched. I never hit that without a smoke grenade. So if you want to use a buy station, run smokes. If you want to move your character, run smokes. If you want to pick up your loadout, run smokes. Or pick them up as ground loot. You have to have them. You have to. And flash grenades you would think would be really good on this small ass map. Okay. Well, you don't have time to throw a flash grenade if they're that close to you. Because it's 8 people that close to you and they're shooting you. You need to be shooting them back or you're dead. There's like not even time to throw flashes, actually. I swear to God. So I would encourage you all to run smoke grenades.
Yeah, I was running flashes and I never had them ever. Yeah, because I would get one with my loadout and then never find one again. So didn't really matter. But yeah, I would recommend smokes for sure.
Yeah,
definitely that's the move.
So anyway,
but oh yeah, next thing, the audio. Audio in Al Mazrah generally is fine now, but Ashika is back to what we've always seen in Caldera, where in Verdansk, every other piece of audio takes priority over footsteps, it seems. So I feel like in general, you hear footsteps more often still in this game than on Verdansk and Caldera at times. But by the time you hear them, they're so close to you and they're behind you that it doesn't matter at that point. Like I hear the guy's last few footsteps and then I'm dead. But it's just since there's so much going on, since there are constantly players landing, you're getting the announcer saying, what does he say when they spawn back in on you? Player dropping in near you, or enemy dropping in, some shit like that. So you're getting that. You're hearing precisions or mortars going off. You're hearing enemy counter UAV in the air, enemy UAV in the air. You're hearing gunshots. You're hearing shotguns. You're hearing smoke grenades. And so that just leads to not often hearing footsteps that you otherwise should, because there is way too much audio going on again. So, you know, as usual, the audio layering will never be fixed in this game. So it's not like the audio got any worse on this map at all. It's just there's so many more sounds in a smaller area compared to Al Mazrah, even, that you notice it a lot more. So that gets a little frustrating at times. And the water, you make no sound. I died to some guy that I couldn't tell you where he came from. I watched the kill cam. I'm standing, and I'm not kidding, 3 feet out of the water. He swam. He looked at me, saw I was there, swam past me underwater, came out of the water, took 3 steps on concrete, ADS'd, killed me with his TAC 56 from 5 meters behind me. And the only thing I ever heard was gunshots. And I'm like, how? I'm like, was that guy like 50 meters away? Why did I not hear him? And then I watched the kill cam and saw that. So there is no audio at all when someone's in the water swimming. You don't hear them jump into the water. You don't hear them come out of the water. So that's also dog shit, of course. But so yeah, in general, you notice lower footstep volume on this map than you do on Al Mazrah, for sure.
Yeah. One experience I had with footsteps specifically was when we were in Castle, that one game where we just kept landing in the castle and there were fucking 80 teams there, because there happened that was the only buy in the circle probably. So there's 20 teams inside of the castle, and one of the times I landed, miraculously I made it into the building, and I was on the bottom floor, and I was hearing footsteps, but it was a lot of people in a lot of different directions, and the directional footstep audio really not good. In addition to so many other sounds that all I knew was like, okay, there are people here. I can hear them clumping around, but I could not tell you where the fuck they are. I don't know if they're behind me, in front of me, above me. I know they weren't below me just because the map isn't designed that way, but that's the only reason I knew that. It's impossible to use footstep audio on Ashika Island, unless maybe it's final circle and it's you and one other person inside a building. Then maybe you'd hear footsteps and be able to pinpoint the location. But you can play Ashika muted and you're not losing any competitive advantage at all. It's totally fine. Yeah. So, but yeah, like Tanner said too, it's not that the audio is any different than Al Mazrah. It feels to me to be exactly the same, but with the way this map plays, it's far less relevant than it is in Al Mazrah. Because if you're in Al Mazrah and you're fighting in a building, there's probably one other team there. If you're fighting in a building in Ashika Island, there are minimum 5 other teams there. So, okay, good luck. With all that gunfire, footsteps, and fucking tacticals, explosions, it's just never happening.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So we want to kind of give our final thoughts here, I guess, now?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
It's just so there's there's just not an ounce of strategy currently with how this is playing out. And that's not because it's Resurgence, because there was strategy in Keep and Rebirth. It's everything else that we just talked about, how chaotic it is. So there is zero strategy to this, so that's why we're not going to bother talking about any of that currently. That'll change, I'm sure, at some point. But it's just a complete and utter unskilled clusterfuck of a game mode. I mean, far and away the least serious and skillful game mode we've had in Warzone that's not an LTM.
Ever. Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's not fun. It is just so chaotic and absurd. If you want the nonstop fighting, you want the nonstop action, it's funny because of how insane it is. It's funny being landed on by the same team that you kill numerous times for 3 minutes straight. They keep landing on you. It's funny. It makes you laugh with your friends. It is an unskilled, disastrous game mode that can be really fun though because of that reason. And I think the biggest thing with that's actually kind of a breath of fresh air right now is that is so much different than Al Mazrah, which is the way it should be. That's the biggest thing we complain about at the end of Caldera. Caldera and Resurgence felt so similar. This could not be more opposite than the Al Mazrah experience. You can run around for 5 minutes in Al Mazrah and not see someone. You will get landed on 70 times in 5 minutes on this mode. So it's fucking insane, which can turn into being fun, but I wouldn't sweat and try too hard on this mode right now because it is third party city. It is just constantly being landed on, nothing but third party fights, fighting numerous teams at once. Disastrous, absurd, but that can make it really, really fun.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this is the most casual Warzone experience that has ever existed, and that's okay. That's fine. And I will also add, we won, I think, 2 games, and we were playing with fucking Jake, who's 12, and Lag, who's on a performance-enhancing device. So, if it was us 4 playing Rebirth Island, we would have won 10 times, and we won like once or twice and we were trying too, because skill and strategy matter very little in this game mode. It is extremely RNG on where the next circle is going to be, where the next third party is going to land, when the next counter UAV is going to get called and where. It's extremely random. Are you going to find a plate? Are you going to find a gun? Is there a buy station? It's incredibly random and chaotic, but and therefore casual, but that does make it really fun. So even though we did not win very often this afternoon, I had a lot of fun playing because I wasn't taking it too seriously. That's the thing. This is a casual game mode. It is the definition of a casual game mode, and it's nonstop action, and it's really fun if you're not trying to win every single game, because you won't. I'm not kidding. I think it would be easier to win 5 games in a row on Al Mazrah, where all the sweat tryhards are, than to win 5 games in a row on Ashika Island as it stands now. Not because the players are better, but because you are that much at the mercy of luck in this game mode. Now, that's not to say there aren't things you can do to increase your odds, but you can only do that. You can only increase your odds. You can't there's no foolproof strategy on Ashika Island. If you're playing Al Mazrah and you really, 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 really want to win, you could do the drop strat, land on an uncontested helicopter, finish a stronghold, get redeploy packs, get self-reses, avoid other teams, rotate early. You have a very, very good chance at winning if you really want to maximize on strategy and playing smart. You can't in this game. There is some strategy. I would say this. Here's tip number 1. Land inside that first circle because there are far too many players for the entire game until the redeploy thing is over for you to rotate into zone. You are going to get fucked. Someone's going to be camping it, and there's going to be someone behind you, and there's going to be someone to the right, and there's going to be a team with spawn protection floating in on you also while you're trying to rotate without cover into the next zone. It's not happening. You have to land in the first circle. Rotate early also, extremely early, because it's going to take you a lot longer to get the next 10 meters into that zone than you think, because there's 8 people watching it. So you're going to have to kill them or wait for them to move or something. It takes a lot of fucking fighting to move an inch in this mode. So there is some strategy, but you can do all of that and you still can and will lose to the next circle pull, or the fact that there's no buy, or the fact that you got third partied and the other team didn't. More so than Rebirth and more so than Fortune's Keep. But again, that's okay. It's really fun because of how chaotic. It's actually kind of a joke how chaotic it is. Like, there were multiple moments where all 4 of us were just constantly landing on each other because you respawn in 2 seconds and laughing and just getting farmed, just constantly dying, getting farmed, getting a kill, then dying. But we were all like having fun, laughing, and it was genuinely an enjoyable experience because of how chaotic it is. Like, it's a joke how chaotic it is. But if you're not taking it too seriously, it's a lot of fucking fun.
Yeah, you can get a lot of kills.
Though, I think it would be more fun if they reduced the chaos a little bit. Again, make the circles better, make the buy station static. It would be a lot better.
Yeah.
So it was a great time though. It was fun casual gameplay. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't like Mazra because of the slow pace, boy, you'll like this shit a lot.
Dude, you will like it a lot.
You can't. It's hard to be bored in You can dislike the mode. You can't be bored in this mode. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, true. Absolutely true. Oh, and another thing I'll say, the ground loot's pretty solid.
Yeah,
actually,
overall it's pretty good.
Better than most Warzone iterations, actually. I think the only bad gun in the loot pool is the double barrel. Actually, I think literally every other ground loot gun is usable.
They're pretty serviceable.
Ground loot. There are a couple snipers, but they're not very common. Like, by far, the most ground loot you see is full auto ARs and subs. Which is great.
You're right. Yep. Yeah.
So that's another thing. And if that wasn't the case, this mode would be so much less fun. But luckily it is. So anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, other than that, I'm very curious to see how this mode evolves. It's absolutely going to change a lot from now until even in a month. Ashika is going to look significantly different. They're going to fix the buys.
It's going to change.
They're going to change the circles. There's going to be the data heist event. They're going to add trios and duos. They might change the player count. It's going to look a lot different. But for now, it's a lot of fun. Good way to level guns probably too. I don't know if it would be faster than multiplayer, but it wouldn't, because you have to get your loadout first.
Because you'll never get your gun,
so never mind. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. Your friends, play it with them. All right, so that is it, boys and girls. We'll see you next week. Thank you all for watching and listening. Have an excellent evening, and stay humble.
Stay humble, man.